Hello there, and welcome to the How to Market Your Horse Business podcast. I'm so glad you're joining me here today. As you've likely guessed by now, my name is Denise Alvarez, and I am your host here on the podcast. And before we dive into today's conversation around pivots in your equine business, which I'm really excited to talk to you about, I'm going to quickly introduce myself in case you're new friends. Then we're going to dive right in, okay? As I said, my name is Denise Alvarez, and through my business, Storm Lily Marketing, I get to help equine business owners grow their business with clarity, confidence, and purpose. Now, I do this primarily through business and marketing coaching, and then education such as this podcast, and I have some online learning resources for you as well. All that I do, you guys, is so that you, as an equestrian entrepreneur, can be out in the barn, in the arena, in the pasture, behind the camera lens, wherever it is you are serving the horse world. I want to help you do more of that. So here on the podcast, you will get a mix of step-by-step strategies, essential how-tos, and entrepreneurial mindset shifts that will help you not only see what's possible for your business, but I'm also here to guide you through that process so you can make it happen. And today, we are doing this by way of talking about something I know many equestrian entrepreneurs wrestle with: pivoting. You may not use those words, okay? You may not say, Denise, I'm here because I need to make a pivot. But practically speaking, it looks like you're ready to make a shift. You're changing directions. You're feeling a tension around things, and you know things need to change. And you're maybe letting go of something that you've outgrown in order to step into something that feels more aligned. Or maybe you're seeing the market change, and so you know you need to make a pivot. But here's the thing. Every business, equine world or not, goes through seasons. I was literally just at the AQHA World Show, and there are a variety of sizes and types of businesses there. And here's the thing. You can't expect your business to stay the same. It's going to make a shift. And I could see that just walking through and looking at the businesses and looking through the content in the magazine and looking at social media and the people that I'm in conversation with that are clients. It's normal to have a different season of business. Okay. But what often happens is you're shifting to a different season, but you don't make any other shifts, right? And then you feel the tension. You literally can feel the tension as a business owner, probably in your body. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about why you know you need to pivot, but you're actually afraid to make that change and make that pivot. We're going to address the mindset blocks that are keeping you stuck, keeping you feeling that tension. And then, of course, if you're new on the podcast, I'll tell you this: practical is my middle name. I love to give you practical next steps so that you know the action to take. And so today you're going to get some next steps that'll help you to get the clarity and confidence that you need to actually move forward. All right? Okay, let's dive in. First of all, we talked about this. You know that you need to make a pivot, but you're feeling frozen. Okay? You're feeling the tension that a shift needs to happen. And I want to let you know that that tension you're feeling, while frustrating sometimes, is actually a good thing. Feeling the tension to pivot does not mean that you have failed, does not mean you're incapable as a business owner. It doesn't always mean you've done something wrong or that you're doing something wrong. It probably just means you're feeling a little bit of stuckness, a little bit of, I can't turn this way, I can't turn this way, I can't turn this way, I know I need to make a change. That feeling is completely normal. You know something in your business needs to change, but you're afraid to make the move. That's okay. That is why you're here. Now, oftentimes, what this looks like is because you've been putting off a decision that you actually know you need to make, right? I can tell you this from a personal perspective as well. Sometimes I get a little bit overwhelmed about some personal decisions, so then I don't make a decision yet, and then I can feel the tension in my body because I know a decision needs to be made, but I haven't done it. I know a change needs to happen, but I don't know what decision to make, and then it creates a little bit of anxiety, if we're honest. And so that can happen in your business as well. What does that look like? Well, perhaps you built an offer a few years ago, but it doesn't light you up anymore. It's actually been successful, but it doesn't light you up. Maybe a part of your business model is feeling heavy or time consuming or just not in alignment with your current season of life or season of business. Maybe you're realizing that what you thought success would look like actually doesn't feel successful now. Here's what I want you to know, friends. You're not the only one. And I'm telling you that because I'm telling you, let me say that better. I can tell you that with honesty because I've been hosting an equestrian mastermind this year. We meet every month. And this conversation around pivoting has been the heart of some of our conversations. Growth is a good thing. And as we grow, we learn and we evolve. But what happens is we also sometimes hold on to the version of the business that we expected to have or that we actually used to really want, but then things changed, things shifted. And so we need to make a pivot, but we're holding on tightly to what used to be, right? And when we're holding on that tightly, we can't move forward and we can't make the shifts that we need to make. So the first step is actually not to just make the change. Okay. Believe it or not. I'm not sitting here telling you like, just do the dang thing. You know, you need to do it, right? That's not me. I'm not going to tell you that. But what I am going to tell you is start with the mindset. Okay. Start with the beliefs. And perhaps you need to first give yourself permission to pivot in your equine business. What I want you to hear that you probably need to hear in your business owner mind, where we so often get stuck, is that pivoting is not failure. Pivoting is also not permanent. Pivoting is paying attention. Your business evolves. You evolve as an equine business owner. Your goals, your dreams, your capacity, they all shift over time. That's normal and healthy, and that's what growth looks like. So if your business is no longer aligned with who you are today, the business that you want today, then it's okay and necessary to change direction. And you can give yourself permission to do that. Okay? A pivot, by the way, is not starting over. It doesn't mean you're having to completely rebuild from the ground up, right? It just means you are choosing the path that actually matches who you're becoming. And when you give yourself permission to pivot, then you're moving from pressure to purpose. You're moving from chaos. And frankly, that mental chaos that often happens when you're just evaluating and reevaluating and evaluating and reevaluating and ideating and all of these things, it feels chaotic in your mind. And when you give yourself permission to pivot, then you can at least have some clarity when you acknowledge, I am going to make a change, right? It helps you to go from burnout to actually having some momentum to move forward. But oftentimes, equine entrepreneurs don't do this. And it's not because they don't want to, it's because you're carrying real fears underneath the surface. Here's what I mean. When I say give yourself permission to pivot, that's like when people would tell me, Denise, everything doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay, right? And some of you listening are going, yeah, Denise, it doesn't. And I know that in truth, okay? But when you have a mindset that's really stuck onto something and that perfectionism is real and excellence to the utmost is what is necessary because that's what success means. And then somebody says, Denise, just let it be okay. Just because you told me that doesn't mean I believe it. So I know that just because I'm telling you, just give yourself permission to pivot, it doesn't mean automatically that's going to happen. And the reason for that is because there are things going on underneath the surface that you actually probably need to address first. Okay. I know this, like I said, personally, and I've seen it with equine business owners that I've worked with on one-on-one coaching. It's usually not really about the one thing that you think it's about. There are some underlying things going on. So me just telling you, give yourself permission to pivot. I realize that's just the first step, that awareness, but then we need to become aware of what's underneath that. So for you, it may not be these three things, but I'm just going to give you three common things that I have seen that are the 3 hidden reasons that you've not been giving yourself permission to pivot. These are the roadblocks that are keeping you from giving yourself permission. So if we can address these, right, then we can go a little deeper. Then you can go, okay, let me deal with that so I can give myself permission to pivot and make these changes. Number 1, the first thing that I often see is a fear of letting people down. You've created a successful business, most likely because you value people, you value relationships. You've got people that are coming to you by word of mouth. You've got customers who are giving great referrals. You have a great reputation. So the moment you consider making a change, a real pivot, changing an offer, shifting into a deeper part of your niche, or maybe evolving the niche that you've been working with, changing your prices, then the fear creeps in. What will my clients think? What if people assume I failed at this and that's why I'm going to do this? What if I disappoint someone who's been with me since the beginning? What if people online think about XYZ when I post this? Here's the truth. The people who really love you, the clients and customers, they support you because of you and who you are. And while, yes, they may experience some disappointment in your shift, that may happen, it doesn't mean that you have to make your decisions based on them. Okay. They want you to be aligned and energized and supported. Your best audience does. Your best clients and customers do. And that's what will happen when you operate from this place of clarity and not obligation to your customers. You're actually going to do the things that you love and enjoy and that light you up, and they're going to see that. And yes, like I said, the reality is there may be some disappointment there because they've come to expect a certain thing. But if you're letting your fear of letting others down drive the way that you grow and build your equine business, then I can tell you, you will reach that point of burnout because you're doing it for everybody else rather than becoming the leader in your business that's going to make decisions based on what is good for you, your family, your business, your team. Okay. So if it's hidden reason number 1, you've been afraid of letting people down, acknowledge that, sit with that, and work through it. Okay. No judgment. There's 0 judgment here as we look at these, just so that we're clear. The second reason you may be afraid to make that pivot, or you've not been giving yourself permission to do that, is a fear of failing. Now, this could look like 2 parts, okay? It could be a fear of failing in what you're wanting to move into. You're sensing something bigger. You're sensing something different that you've never done before. You may be afraid to fail at that. Or it may be a fear of feeling that you failed at what you've done so far. Even if it's been successful, when you're making a change and a pivot, then you may have a fear that it could have been different. It could have been better, right? And so what this also could look like is that fear of failure at the previous business, then you give yourself permission, possibly, okay, as you're working through this, to grieve what could have been, or to grieve the version of your business that you thought you were going to see, but you're letting go of that so that you can go after something new and different that is a change and a shift for you. So letting go of what could have been in order to go after what could be, that's a process. And so maybe you've not given yourself permission to pivot because you haven't backed up to that step first to say, I just need to acknowledge what I've built here. I need to grieve this business, what it could have been or would have been, so that I can run wholeheartedly into this part of the business that I now really want to dive into. Again, it may be that your business was successful. The things that you're shifting aren't necessarily not working anymore. You're just feeling led in a different direction, right? And so maybe you're not needing to grieve that necessarily, but you're needing to address your fear of failure of what's ahead and identifying what that's coming from, okay? So fear of failure can show up in a couple different ways for you, but I want you to sit with it and think, how is that showing up and keeping me from giving myself permission to make this pivot? All right, the third the third mindset shift, the third hidden reason that you may be not giving yourself permission to pivot is that you don't have clarity on what you are pivoting toward. So in the previous one, I told you may be afraid of failing at that thing, but maybe you don't even know what that thing is. You're like, Denise, I'm feeling the tension for a shift, and I just don't know exactly what it's supposed to look like. Like, here are the ideas that I have. Here's what's inspiring me. Here's what I've seen someone else do well that I think could look really neat, but I'm just not really sure what that's supposed to look like. And so again, that feeling stuck in inaction, that can be really stressful. It can be anxiety feeling. And I get that because you're going, I know it's not this, but I don't know what this is over here. Okay. It can feel foggy, it can feel overwhelming, and you just don't know where to focus. And I completely get that. And so what happens there is if you could back up, okay, and realize that you don't know what that thing is that you're moving towards because you've lost the vision of your personal version of success. You've heard me talk about this here on the podcast if you've been for a while because it is so, so key. When we're making decisions as equestrian entrepreneurs, as a business owner, we've got to know, what does success look like for me? How am I defining that? Because if I'm defining it by what I see everyone else doing, then I really don't know what I'm moving towards. And truly, actually, what often happens is I pivot every couple of months to chase what someone else says is success, rather than understanding if I know what success means to me, I can use it as a filter for my decisions. And then I have clarity, and it takes away that confusion, right? So defining success for this season gives you the ability to see the next step, the direction that you want to move to. Pivoting then doesn't feel like such a leap, and it feels like taking a step. But that clarity piece is everything. So if you've been saying, I know I need to pivot, but I can't really give myself permission to do that, maybe it's because you've lost that piece of knowing what success means to you. And so, of course, you don't know where to pivot because you don't know how you're defining what success would look like. So what do we do with these things? Now that you know, right, you've identified, this is what's keeping me stuck. This is what's giving me anxiety about the coming year. This is what's making me feel so much tension. I can feel it in my body. What do I do? Well, the reality is, like we talked about, yes, addressing the mindset, and also action comes from clarity. I'm sorry, I said that backwards. Clarity comes from action. Okay. So yeah, do I want you to do the mindset work and think about those things? 100%. And then also start taking action. Because if you wait until you're ready, until you mentally feel ready, the reality is we're never really, really ready. And I know you know that because you started a business and built it in the first place. And I doubt you ever felt that you were 1,000% ready for that. So what do? We take action. And from the action, we get the clarity. Okay. So I'm going to give you 3 practical action steps with a 4th bonus, actually, that you're going to be able to take and start moving through this process. Number 1, okay? Number 1 is to name it out loud. Name the misalignment out loud. So I want you to ask yourself, feel free to pause this episode or write this down and do it at the end. Where in my business does something feel forced or heavy or off? Where in my business does something feel forced or heavy or just off? And then I want you to write it down or say it out loud. Just acknowledge it. Because often what's happening, that tension you're feeling, is that you've been pushing through. You've been feeling it for a while. You've been feeling off, but you just been ignoring it. Well, this is working for now. I need to push through and do this. And so you've been ignoring it for so long that it's really showing up. And so first thing, let's just acknowledge that, okay? Awareness is so key. So name the misalignment. Just name what's feeling off for you right now. And then second, I want you to sit down and think about success and the definition that means the most to you right now in your season of life and business. I don't even want you to think about what you said success was in the beginning of the year when you set your goals in January, or when you were planning out your revenue and what that was going to look like. I don't want you to think about what you thought success would look like when you first started your business or what social media says that success should look like. I want you to think about success in your season, your business, your capacity, your values, what matters most to you, and your personal why. When you redefine success, it will get simpler. Okay. I didn't say it's going to be easy to do all the time, but it will get simpler to grow your equine business with clarity and confidence and purpose. The third thing you're going to do is make one micro shift. Okay. It does not have to be a major move. It doesn't have to be a major player to make a difference. Pick one small aligned step that you can take. Maybe it is changing some of the structure of your current offers. Maybe it is raising your rates a little bit for new customers that are coming in. Maybe it is pressing pause on something that just makes you tighten up in your chest every time you think about having to do it. Maybe it's saying no to something or saying yes to something. Think about what's a small micro shift that you can make that is going to help you get that clarity and give you that momentum to move forward. Now, I told you I have a fourth bonus thing. So there's your 3 steps, okay? Awareness, number 1, redefine success, and then make a micro shift. The next thing I want you to do is join me, okay? If you are feeling that nudge that something needs to shift and you're wanting clarity, then join me for my brand new 2026 Reset. It is a free 3-part mini workshop series that I am hosting to help you reconnect with what success actually looks like for you, refine your direction for 2026, and realign your strategy so that your goals and your systems support you and who you are becoming as an equestrian entrepreneur. I am so excited about this, you guys. It is a brand new series that I've put together, and we are doing it just in time to get you ready for 2026, okay? Each session, there are 3 sessions. Each one will be just 20 minutes long. They will be simple, yet peaceful and powerful. I promise you. And it will be what you need to walk into 2026 with clarity and confidence instead of pressure and overwhelm and striving. So if that sounds good to you, I would love to personally invite you to join me. You can go to Storm Lily, Lily, well, Storm, okay, and then lily.com/reset to get signed up. It's completely free. We're going to do it live together, okay, but then also I will have replays available. So if you're listening to this, we're going to do it the first week of December, 2025. If you're listening to this and you're saying, Denise, I actually have something going on that week, then please still sign up. I am sending out replays. It will be a limited time replay because I want you to actually watch it and take action. But if you can't join me live, I will send you the replay. Okay. And I will give you the homework, and I still want you to engage with me via email so that you can get that clarity and confidence you want going into 2026. Okay. So if your business has been whispering this, something needs to change. This is your chance to lean in and make those shifts as you get ready to plan for 2026. All right. So again, it's Storm Lily, Storm, LILY.com. And I would love for you to join me for the 2026 Reset. It's going to be a 3-part mini workshop series to reconnect, refine, and realign your equine business before the new year. Okay, so apply what you've learned today, start getting yourself ready, and then join me for the free mini series. I would love to have you there. And can I just tell you, it's free. So invite a friend. Okay, send them that link, invite them, send them this episode. You've heard me talk about my mastermind and group this year. So I'm going to let you know, and I've hinted it here on the podcast, but I am about to open up the doors for the Business Barn Collective, which is a small group coaching program where you can have a similar experience. So if you've got somebody that you're like, you know what, together, we would love to join the Business Barn Collective. I think she'd make a great person for it. Send her to this mini workshop series. Okay, that would be him or her, I should say. This would be a great place to start having that conversation and preparing for the coming year, and see if small group coaching is a good fit for you. So just to give you a heads up, that's coming down the pike. But first, we're going to do this reset and we're going to get you into a really solid place to get ready for 2026. All right, friends, that's all I've got for you today. I will tell you one more thing, okay? I'm sorry, one more. And it's just to let you know that the outline of today's episode is on my website. So if you were listening and not able to take notes, if you're driving, if you're mucking out stalls, if you're, got your earbuds in while you're warming up the horse, whatever it might be, I've got the notes for you. So if you go to stormlily.com/196 for episode 196, then I've got the outline there for you so that you can go and take your notes and get the questions and action steps that I shared. All right, that truly is it. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I am so honored to get to serve you as an equine business owner. I pray big blessings over your business, and I hope you have a wonderful day.